What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Crooked Line Racing SK Modified Series from Five Flags Speedway tonight. I'm Zach Wetstein. I'm here with Tanner Marr. How you doing, Tanner?
I'm doing good, Zach. Glad to be here. Hoping for a repeat of last week. We had a pretty good show, and hoping for the same this week.
Yeah, fun race at New Hampshire, and we move on to a shorter track than that here at Five Flags, half mile in length. 74 degrees is the track temperature, air temp 71, and we are currently qualifying. So we'll head over, check some of these guys out qualifying. Dalton Williamson, we'll start off with him. It's going to be interesting to see how these drivers handle this track tonight. Not an easy one at all, so never driven this track in these cars, but I can imagine it's going to be a challenge tonight.
Oh yes, Zach. It's gonna be a little loose, and that's actually surprising for Five Flags. But with it being a fixed setup, that's the setup these boys have this week. I went out there and turned some laps. Thought I was pretty fast, and realized I was a tenth off pace. So it's gonna be difficult. It's gonna be a big difference than New Hampshire was last week. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Dalton Williamson gets the second qualifying spot so far on the grid. Donald Clark out on track, and we'll do a little bit of a onboard with him just to see how a lap is around here. See how close he gets to that wall on entry just to get the perfect corner.
Also, Zach, I don't know if you can really tell or not, but there's not a whole lot of lifting here. You kind of just roll out the throttle for just a second, and then you're just right back into it full throttle. And you really got to drive these cars. They don't have a whole lot of momentum, so you got to keep the momentum up, but then also fight the wheel too.
Yeah, I was just about to say that's tough. You just get out of the gas, but if you enter wrong and you get off that gas, that car might want to turn left a little bit more than you want it to. So I mean, yeah, I didn't know that, but I kind of saw it in that qualifying lap. Definitely going to be something to watch tonight. You mentioned it. These guys getting loose on exit. We saw it there out of four, getting back on gas. And I have raced this track in a super late model, and, well, that turn four, you can get back on the gas too soon and think that you're going to come out to the wall perfectly, and then that wall kind of comes out of nowhere and you can hit it. So these guys got to watch that tonight here at Five Flags.
So it's actually hilarious you said that because a driver said a while ago, I'm making a bet now. I knocked the wall down and I turned four at least 4 to 5 times tonight.
Hey, I only say that from experience, and truly just from experience, because I was the league I was in was doing the snowball derby type thing, and so I decided I would try it out. I didn't even do the race because I wasn't very good at Five Flags, but one thing I noticed was the wall really, it's kind of like Darlington Turn 2. It sneaks up on you if you get out to it too quick. And that's the main thing I noticed was hitting that wall out of Turn 4.
Absolutely. It's one of them tracks that it'll reach out and grab you almost.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. This guy's going to have 100 laps around this half mile, so 50 miles they're gonna race tonight, and it's going to be a lot busier of a track than it looks right now.
Yes, sir. I think it's going to be pretty interesting. Once these first 5 minutes of qualifying is up, we'll bring the top three qualifiers over and hear what they have to say from their expertise. They've had a little bit more practice time than what I've had, and I'll tell you what, I'm just excited to see how this is going to play out, honestly. We got Trevor Edwards, last week's winner. Because of the way the rules are set up, he'll be starting in the back tonight. He's a super fast driver, so it's going to be interesting seeing him try to make his way up through the field and do it cleanly and still have a front nose clip by the end of the race.
Yeah, we talked about how tough it was going to be last week to start from the back. It's going to be even tougher tonight at a shorter track and a tough track at that. So, going to be interesting to watch his journey through the field. Tommy Flanagan done qualifying 12th right now.
We had a driver that won previously. He said, it felt great to win that night, but then the next day you wake up and realize, shoot, I'm starting in the back next week. It kind of sucks the fun out of it pretty quick. But That's what makes this series so interesting. That's why we've had so many different winners. It's difficult to come from the back in a big field.
Yeah, but also, I mean, that's what league racing is about. You can have fun and you can get wrecked, and the only thing that can get hurt are feelings. Really, no safety rating, no I rating, so you can get wrecked and you can be upset about it, but you move on, and it hurts nothing other than, like I said, your feelings that night.
Yes, sir. Just a little bit of a hit to the pride is all.
Looks like we are 5 minutes through qualifying.
Yes, sir. I'm going to start moving the drivers over now so we can get some of their thoughts for tonight's race. It's interesting seeing Trevor Edwards post second on the board when we just talked about he'll be starting in the back. So that's that kind of stinks for him, but it shows that he has speed for tonight.
Yep, that'll get Dalton Williamson up to the second position when they grid, at least for now, as he qualified in the fourth position.
So I'm actually not seeing Sean Woodside in our Discord, so I can't make miracles happen on that end. So we actually have just Christian and Trevor up in the booth. Trevor, this is Tanner and Zach up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, buddy.
So we were just elaborating on the broadcast that you were last week's winner, and I know that felt great on Tuesday night, but then Wednesday night you realized I got to start in the back. You posted second fastest time on the board. How are you liking your chances coming through the back tonight?
Ask me again about lap 50 if I've survived. That's my only concern is surviving to lap 50 because this place is going to be like kind of tough to pass, but I think it's going to be fun. So at least it's not a terrible place to pass like New Hampshire was.
I know this is something you really want to answer. How do you think tires are going to play an effect tonight around that lap 50 competition caution?
We'll be taking them. I didn't take them last time at Lanier. Or, yeah, I didn't take them last week at New Hampshire and won. The week before that, I didn't take tires and I got killed. So I'll probably just end up taking them tonight to be safe.
Right. I mean, unless you can get track position gifted to you, I would probably take them tonight.
It's going to be one of those deals. I hate tires, but that's the rules of the series and got to follow them, I guess.
So with you being you're here just about week in and week out. Last time I looked, Trevor Dalton was actually leading the points. How how do you think it's going to shake out once the drop weeks come into effect and stuff like that? Do you think you have a shot at him?
Probably not because I think I missed more weeks. I think I've missed like 3 or 4 weeks. So I think there's only two if I'm correct. I know it's between Dalton and AJ right now. I haven't really looked at the points since I'm not in them. But we're always in Discord, all three of us together. So it's usually a good time.
Right. So you're kind of like I am. I just go out there and race and let stuff fall how it falls, and if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. All right, buddy. I won't hold you up too much longer. You got any sponsors or anybody you want to shout out?
Yeah, I think McConey Setup Shop. Head over there. I know this week's Martinsville setup. I feel like I have a rocket for there. And tiresuck.com as always.
I will second the Martinsville setup. It's a fast one. So McConey Setup Shop. They're actually a league sponsor. Trevor Edwards. He actually builds the modified and SK modified series stuff over there. So check him out. He's proven that he has speed, and he's proven that he can supply these boys with a not only a competitive setup, but a setup that everybody can go fast in. So without further ado, Trevor, I wish you luck, buddy, and maybe we'll be here at the end talking to you.
Appreciate it, man. I like the sound of the new mic, by the way.
Thank you, buddy. Mr. Pittman, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, Tanner.
You put that thing on the pole tonight. I see. I would say how you liking your chances, but I guess you got to be liking them pretty well to qualify on the pole, right?
Um, I I don't know. I wasn't that fast in practice, and these guys had a lot of practice speed. But I did some research watching them practice, and you're running your fastest lap about lap 4 or 5. So if I can get out to a decent sized lead, or at least be able to stay up front, I think we'll have a chance. But if we get shuffled on the start or something to get to the back, I'm worried about being a crash fest tonight. Not even that it's a short track. It's just this track is always known for not hard to pass, but a lot of contact in and off the corner. So track position will come in to be a big factor tonight.
So it sounds like you're saying that we're basically going to have like a one group track, maybe two, possibly, but you got to be a lot faster than the guy down low, really.
Yeah, I was seeing that in practice. You can get a really good run off turn 2 and 4 if you run up top, but the inside lane gets a good run coming into 1 and 3. You're going to have to figure out which lane is actually overall faster, and I think whoever figures that out quickest will be the person that wins tonight.
Right on. So, a little peek behind the curtain. I told Zach I didn't mention no names, but I said we had a driver mention that they'd probably kill their chances tonight by hitting the wall coming out of turn 4. Do you want to elaborate on who said that tonight, Christian?
Yeah, that, that was me. I mean, I was right every time I'd get out there about lap 7. Y'all watch lap 7. I'm shoving the nose a little bit, and I've knocked down the fence. You saw it in practice. So if I get past lap 7, I think we'll be set.
Zach, you got anything for our post setter, Christian Pittman, here tonight?
Not any questions, but I mean, congrats on the pole spot, and we'll make sure to we'll make sure to tune in around lap 7. Wishing you luck to not hit that wall.
Thanks, Zach.
Christian, before I send you back over to the League Race channel, you got any sponsors or anything you want to shout out tonight?
Yeah, my grandparents, as always, they watch every single one of these. My girlfriend for always coming over and sitting here watching me, and my dad and Five Kings Motorsports, of course, and also McConey Setup Shop. And, Trevor, he hates tires. I got to thank him for always giving me a laugh.
Right on, buddy. All right, Christian. Well, like I told Trevor, we'll wish you luck. Maybe we'll be here in the end talking to you.
10-4, brother.
Well, there we have it, Zach. We didn't get to speak to 3 of them. We spoke to 2 of them. And you hear that track position is going to be key, and that's going to be rough on Trevor starting in the back, I think.
Yeah, I think, New Hampshire in itself is a tough track, but if you ever are having to start in the back, last week was probably the time to do it at least at a track that's a mile in length that's doable. Even if it's tough to pass there, you at least have some room, and then you come to 5 flags and not a lot of room, like they mentioned, not very easy to pass, and then you got to start at least, 15th, or I'm not sure how many are actually racing tonight, but you at least have to start 15th or worse in this race. So that's going to be a tough one, and we're going to have to keep an eye on him with the speed he has. We'll see what kind of passes he's able to make happen tonight.
You're exactly right. So I've spoke with a few drivers that's on Five Kings Motorsports, and I've told them before. I told Jason Day, it's just, I mean, you can have all the speed in the world, but if you don't have that speed reined in with some patience, then you won't ever finish the race. So he's just going to be patient and pick his spots, and hopefully be there at the end when it counts.
Yeah, starting in the back, you're going to have people racing in front of you, and you use the patience that you just mentioned for, get somebody trapped out of the racing line, and then you can use that to try to pass them to make it easier. So it's not always good to be aggressive, because sometimes lanes can just open up for you if you let other people battle. So that's another way he can try to gain positions tonight. But the further you get to the front, the harder it's going to be to pass tonight.
You're exactly right, Zach. You hit the nail on the head.
As we'll go ahead and pull up the grid. Christian Pittman in the pole spot. Trevor Edwards, we mentioned he's going to the back, so Dalton Williamson will move up to that second spot. Sean Woodside qualified 3rd. Rex Hoyle 5th. Timothy Trowbridge 6th. Frank Barbary, 7th. AJ Rogers 8th. Jason A. Day 9th. Donald Clark 10th. Brad Ringer 11th. Qualifying 12th is Tommy Flanagan. 13th, Daniel Hutchins. Brian Bianchi 14th. Steve Sexton 15th. Joshua Sexton 16th. Brandon Metler 17th. Thomas Flanagan 18th. And that is your field. Unless, are Scotty Stevens and Kyle Eli racing, or are they race control?
I'm not sure where Kyle went, but so Joshua Sexton and Scotty Stevens are going to be in race control with us tonight.
Okay.
Kyle's normally really, really fast. I'm really kind of shocked not to see him out here right now.
Looks like we're about to roll off here. That blue and white 8 gonna lead us to the green flag tonight. And as you see, Trevor Edwards gonna stay to that outside, fall to the back, which will move Dalton Williamson in that one machine up to the front row. And then everybody behind him on that outside will move up one spot.
Zach, something to hit on with this track. I know we talked about it last week at New Hampshire. These modifieds, they don't have a whole lot of visibility when you look out the front windshield, and looking left and right's virtually non-existent because of the cage and stuff in there. And I'm not sure if you ever noticed or not, Five Flags is not known to be too bright of a track. When they enter turn one and turn two here and start going down that back stretch, look how dark it gets. I've heard drivers complaining about that tonight as well too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. When I came into the practice, I was thinking my monitor was a little dark because it was hard to see him, and I was like, it's just the track. You see how dark it is into turn 3 there, just not enough light shed onto this track, and that pace car will make it look a little brighter with those lights out the front, but you'll see once they start racing just how dark it is there. As the pace car itself pulls off, and these guys are going to wait till the green flag is out. Christian Pittman, you heard in the interview, he said he does not want to get sorted back or else it could really suck for him. So he's going to stay in that lead, and he's going to be able to keep it as second place Dalton Williamson fighting Sean Woodside there on the outside.
I don't see a big disadvantage to the high side right now. I figured the people who are starting on the outside would get shuffled back fairly quickly, but he's hanging on pretty good out there right now.
Yeah, the grip on those tires early on in the restart probably going to help them, but I think, and I could be wrong because I don't know these cars very well, but I think as the laps tick by, that outside line will start to fall off a little bit more. But, you know, some tracks just surprise you because if you're on that outside, you can trap somebody down to the inside, not give them enough room to arc off the turn, and that can help the person on the outside get a better run. So it can surprise you sometimes.
You're exactly right. We got quite a bit of double file action throughout the field. They're starting to sort out back to single file now, but as you look further back, they're still double file. Haven't sorted it out yet just yet.
Yeah, and Dalton Williamson has fallen from 2nd to 6th on that restart, stuck on the outside, so it proved to hurt him at least. Back 4 spots now, and he's going to have to regroup a little bit and try to pick these guys apart.
So there you have it. I mean, you said it. You said that grip in the very beginning on fresh tires, it helped him for a lap, but then by lap 2, lap 3, he was a sitting duck.
So Trevor Edwards, who started in the 17th position up to 11th.
Oh, wow. I didn't think he'd be able to advance that quick. So he's definitely going to be a driver to watch tonight.
Yeah, and it's a car hard to miss with that chrome look on it. So I remember a lot of these cars, you know, with Pittman up front, also with Jason Aday, but Trevor Edwards stuck with me the most, I think, just because of that chrome. So yeah, you make sure to look for that chrome and you'll see his car. And by the way, we are officially past lap 7 for Mr. Pittman, so he's good.
He made it. So if he was a betting man, he would have lost some money tonight.
And we're starting to see that patience come into play with Trevor Edwards. Once one line is able to make the pass, you see Brad Ringer making a pass on Jason Aday. That opens the door for Trevor Edwards on Brad Ringer, or on Jason Aday, not Brad Ringer, sorry. And that's exactly what's happening to Jason there on the outside. He's starting to lose a lot of positions because these guys are closing gaps for him to get down, and it looks like he might have the position to do it here.
Okay, you're a fellow racer, Zach. In other leagues, you know, once you get on that outside lane, especially a track like this, you just keep on watching that mirror, just waiting to hear clear, and you're going to jump down there as quick as you can. But it's just sometimes you're in the box and you can't, and you just gotta just cut your losses and try to regroup whenever you can.
Yeah, this Sunday in the league I'm racing in, we're racing at Martinsville, so I'm definitely going to have to pay attention to that. And that's one that these kind of tracks are where you want to get the pole spot, so you're not stuck on the outside, or at least you want to get to the inside on the grid when you qualify. But obviously you can't control that, as you can only control what kind of lap you put down. But yeah, Martinsville going to have to worry all about not getting trapped on the outside there more than really a lot of tracks.
Yeah, I can't think of another track that'd be worse than Martinsville as far as being on the outside.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but that kind of shows the variety of short tracks, specifically in NASCAR, but all over America. It doesn't matter if it's a local track or a high NASCAR track. Bristol and and Martinsville are both half-mile tracks, but one track you want to be on the inside, and because of the changes they've made at Bristol, you want to be on the outside there and the inside Martinsville. So two half miles, but two tracks that act way differently.
So Zach, as I was just watching kind of through the field right then, I noticed Sean Woodside in the 45, he was running second for a majority of the race. He went up to let Trowbridge actually pass him, and now he's lost 3 spots right there just by doing that. I think he intended on 1 car passing, and it opened the door for 3 cars to pass.
Yeah, honestly, that's one thing I try not to do at short tracks. You know, you want to be a nice driver if you're holding somebody up. And at a 1.5 mile track, or even a mile like last week, that could work. But when you're at a track like this where cars are so close together, you do not want to do that, because you could give up a lot of spots like he had to after he gave up 1 spot on purpose. So yeah, it might look bad for you to stay in front of somebody even if they're faster, but you just can't afford to lose too many positions on a short track.
You're exactly right. That's what I tell people all the time. We're racing right here. We're not just driving on I-65 or on the interstate, you know. We're out here racing. As you see, Timothy Trowbridge actually closing in the gap on Christian Pittman. This is actually, since going green, this is the closest somebody's been to Christian's bumper.
Yeah, already 21 laps into tonight's 100-lap event. And Trowbridge, like you mentioned, to the back bumper. With 22-lap-old tires now, what can he do? And he's actually going to get a great run to the inside. Is he going to be able to make it stick in 3 and 4? And a great pass by Timothy Trowbridge. And he kind of made Christian Pittman make a decision. He had to make a decision whether to fight for the lead. And if he fought for the lead, he could have potentially given up even more spots. So he was kind of smart. He was like, hey, you're faster than me. I'm going to let you go, and I'm going to secure my second spot.
Another little peek behind the curtain. So that's actually 2 Five Kings Motorsports drivers right then. I'm sure they were talking in the Discord chat right then, and Christian probably told Trowbridge, just take me right here, but just come quick. Don't pull AJ Rogers with you.
Yeah, exactly. Because if AJ Rogers gets to his inside there's 3 more potential spots behind Rogers that could fill that hole and take spots away from him, and before you know it, Pittman could have been in 5th or 6th.
I'm wondering now if the tires are starting to wear out on Pittman, because like I said, he didn't have a huge gap to second place for most of the race, but he did have a substantial gap, so he may have burnt off his tires a little bit earlier than what he planned to or intended to or something.
Yeah, Dalton Williamson, who fell back to 6th from his second starting position, back up to 4th now, so he's starting to make some more moves. And Trevor Edwards, we've tried to keep up with his progress through this race. He's now up to the 7th position, but with all the battling he's been having to do, look at how far ahead these guys are from 6th ahead of him. 2-second gap between himself and 6th place Rex Hoyle. So all that battling has caused him to have a pretty big gap to the guys in front of him.
Yes, sir. I think right now, if I was Trevor, I'd just be wanting a caution just to bunch us back up together, Zach, so I wouldn't have to burn my tires trying to chase somebody down, trying to fish them in, reel them back in. So it's interesting, though, to see him starting the back and already up to 7, 29 laps into the race.
So one thing we missed, Pittman got the lead back from Trowbridge, and A.J. Rogers took advantage of it and took the second spot away as Timothy's back to the 3rd position.
So, I mean, that goes to show you let one by, you're opening the door for multiple.
Yeah, it might be one of those things for Pittman where Timothy got to him and he was just taking it too easy. I've had that to me a couple times where I was leading a race and I felt like I was doing good, and then someone caught me out of nowhere, and somehow that made me faster, realizing I could have gone harder. And I mean, ever since he took the lead back away, he's starting to build a little bit of a gap.
As you see, it looks like 1st through 5th, you kind of throw a blanket underneath them, and then they got a little bit of gap in between Rex Hoyle and Trevor Edwards. So that's 1st through 6th, excuse me.
Yeah, and behind Trevor Edwards, Brad Ringer, Tommy Flanagan, Thomas Flanagan, all battling here. You see the actually the two Flanagans side by side right now, and it
So
looks. Sorry, go ahead.
Thomas is the younger son of Tommy, and speaking with him earlier, Tommy, the father, said that Thomas was newer to iRacing but was faster on iRacing. So it's kind of curious and funny to see them side by side like that.
Gotta hate it when someone comes on something new that you've been doing for a while and is better than you.
Especially when it's your son or a brother or anybody
Exactly.
like that.
Yeah, as I brought my dad onto iRacing around May, and he's gotten hooked to it ever since. So I definitely know what it's like to have that father-son friendly competition in iRacing where we're always trying to be better than each other.
The real question is, though, Zach, have y'all ever wrecked each other?
We have not yet. We've wrecked together at Talladega, but not wrecked each other.
That'd be an interesting family meeting the next time, if it ever happens.
Hopefully not. But yeah, we're always toying with each other when we're, because he lives in Indy and I live in Florida. So whenever we are together in person, when we're not just hanging out, we're talking a little smack about who's going to be faster on iRacing. So it's always fun to have that little internal family battle on something. It doesn't even have to be iRacing, just a fun little family battle.
Absolutely, and it's a good way to bond, too. That's awesome to hear that. I like hearing that.
And now Dalton Williamson, he had gained 2 positions back. Now he's fallen to the 6th position after being 4th just a couple laps ago. Lost a spot to Sean Woodside, and Rex Oil took advantage. So we're seeing a lot. We're seeing a lot of that tonight. Where, we mentioned it at the start of the race. If you lose one position, somebody behind you is probably going to try to take advantage to that inside.
Absolutely, as we're fastly approaching the competition caution at lap 50. If a caution comes out between now and lap 50, that will be the comp caution. But I'm really, really interested to see what these drivers elect to do underneath the competition caution.
Yeah, these drivers have done a great job tonight with 42 coming to 43 green flag laps. It's tough at a track like this where it can be really loose, and since you have to be so aggressive into the turn, you could easily slip up and make a mistake. So 43 green flag laps in a row is not an easy task, and they're about to come to the 44th lap. That's how quickly laps go by here at Five Flag Speedway, where the beginning of my sentence is 2 laps before the end of my sentence.
It's crazy. You're looking at about a 16-second lap right there. So they're definitely clicking them off really fast. I'm really impressed with the drivers tonight that have showed patience and showed great poise by not just sticking the car in anywhere.
Yeah, that's the fun thing about short tracks over any other kind of track is when you talk rhythm and racing, you want to have rhythm every single track you go to, but it is, so much more of a need at short tracks in terms of getting a good rhythm going, because you barely have a front stretch or a back stretch to gather your thoughts. So if you can just, tick off laps, get into a rhythm, you're not even really thinking about what you're doing. You're just doing it because of the rhythm that you've built.
That's what I tell drivers all the time. The best thing to do on a short track is just to zone out. If you zone out and just start driving without thinking, that's when you'll be at your best. As you see, Chris and Pittman still leading these guys around. They've all went single file for the most part. I think they're just biding their time till the competition caution at this point.
Yeah, which is smart for these drivers. Can't win it at the competition caution, but you can sure damage that car a lot. So make it to lap 50, and we'll see what they do for pit stops and then go another 50.
Yes, sir. I'm really curious to see if there's people that's towards the back with having this long green flag run. You would have to think that the first 50 laps going green. The next 50 can go green as well, So, do you elect to stay out right here and get track position, or do you come in for the for sure thing and get your tires now? It's a chess game on a short track.
Well, Trevor Edwards stalled out at 7th after gaining so many positions on that restart. So I think Trevor Edwards, you question him about whether he would go down and get tires. I'm not sure he will, but he's going to join these guys, and we'll see if they do in fact take those tires.
It's looking like everybody's electing to pit right now. Like I said, it's a big gamble if you think a caution's going to come out between now and lap 100, I would stay out. But the tried and true done showed you that we went 50 laps.
Oh, and a mess up on pit road. I'm not sure. I can't tell who that is. It might be AJ Rogers.
I can't either.
I think it might have been
can't.
AJ. No,
That's
it was the
something-
one, Dalton Williamson.
Ooh, that's something you don't want to see right here. I mean, he's going to lose valuable positions right there if he did indeed mess up on pit road. As you see, AJ Rogers coming out, actually beat Christian Pittman out, so we may have saw some strategy right there. Zach, I'm not sure if you're able to see how many tires and whatnot people took.
I am not able to see how many tires, but I think we can take a look at. No, I was gonna say maybe. Yeah, we can look at pit lane time and see if their time was shorter, but not tires, unfortunately.
With Rogers gaining 7 spots, I would say he did something different. So he either took 2 tires or he may have elected to take no tires and only fuel. As you see, a Flanagan, I'm not sure which one that is by looking on your screen, but they also gained 13, and the other Flanagan gained 9. So father and son on the same strategy as AJ Rogers, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, we saw those guys in kind of the second group. You had the first 5 or 6, then you had Edwards, and then you had another group, and both Flanagans were a part of that group. So, yeah, it looks like a little bit of pit strategy for both, along with Rogers.
Yes, sir. I mean, if you're in the back, if you haven't showed race-winning speed the first half of the race, then in your head you know it's going to take a pit call to get yourself up there. And if they get a caution late in the race and didn't take tires and still have their one set of tires in the pits, this could pay off big time.
It's the awesome thing about racing. When you add sets of tires into iRacing like they did, it adds another level of strategy, and we're seeing that tonight.
I'm hearing from race control, I think there is something going on with the way iRacing has them positioned on the grid, so they delayed the caution for 1 lap. Going to try to get that sorted out. It's going to be really interesting right here, Zach, to see Christian Pittman. He is not the control car anymore. He's not controlling the pace. And we're going to see if these new tires versus old tires, if it's really going to pay off, or if AJ Rogers is able just to maintain track position for a little bit.
Yep, Rogers going to have 44 laps as of now to try to hold on to that lead, and I'm not sure what he'd be if he'd hope for, cautions to make it easier on himself against these tires, or if he's maybe hoping it goes all the way as the green flag is back out. AJ Rogers, a great restart. That's going to leave Christian Pittman and Tommy Flanagan side by side for second. Christian Pittman on the outside.
So we're seeing Pittman actually have to battle right now for his position as they make slight contact, I think, in between both drivers, but they were able to hold it. I think we're seeing what you said earlier, Christian Pittman, he's trying to not cause any damage or whatever, but he's just trying to kind of hold Tommy down as more contact is made.
Oh, a little bit of contact with Christian Pittman and Timothy Trowbridge, but they're able to keep it clean, and unfortunately Christian falls back to 5th, but he's able to at least get on that inside line and try to regroup here with Dalton Williamson. We saw him make that mistake on pit road. He's still 6th, so he's looking good right now.
And you notice the top 3 drivers right now are the drivers that gain the most positions on pit road, so maybe the gamble was smart for them.
Caution's out. Rex Hoyle on the front stretch, it looks like. See what happened. Oh, it looks like maybe we're gonna check out what happened here, not speculate, because it can go both ways, so we're gonna check out what happened. Oh, they wrecked in front of him. 45.
Oh, yes.
We're gonna. So Sean Woodside, who's been up in the top 5, trouble for him. I think he's been in the top 5. I could be wrong.
He's been up towards the front for a majority of the race.
See what happened to the 45 here. Goes down to the low side, and 2 drivers just occupying the same, or trying to occupy the same spot. And it's gonna.
I wasn't able to see who that was on his outside. I'm wanting to say it was
Looks like
Jason
the
Dave, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
54 of Rex Hoyle.
Yeah, Rex definitely got the worst of that deal. As you see, he's smoking out the back like we went over last week. Once you see that smoke, you're on borrowed time, because if that smoke ever stops, and you're not moving anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. As we're coming back live, and he's still trying to get down to pit road as he does there.
With as clean as this race has been, nobody's had to use their fast repair or quick repair, so he should be able to get his car fixed and get a reset and get back out there and maybe gain some positions back.
Well, A.J. Rogers and both of the Flanagans in the top 3 with the pit strategy, so working out so far, and we're coming to 35 laps to go here in a couple of laps. So let's see how the remaining time of this race works out for them, but currently the top 3.
Yes, I'm really curious as to how this plays out right here. I mean, in iRacing, fresh tires are normally, you're looking at half a tenth faster each lap. And on a short track where you're only popping off 16-second laps, that's a big difference.
Yeah, it's all about, I think the restarts are what caused them to be able to at least maintain that spot, or they could just be fast. But on these restarts, when you're stacked up 2 by 2 and everybody's racing for position, like we've seen tonight, on these restarts, I mean, there can be multiple lines side by side for 4 or 5 laps. So when you're behind those guys that are side by side, you really can't go anywhere, and that kind of helps these guys on older tires stay out there for longer. We'll see long term if we're able to get another long run in us, how it works out for them. But with these cautions, if they get more and more cautions, it's going to help them, because there's less laps for these guys behind them to try to pass them.
Yes, and A.J. Rogers, he loves seeing both Flanagans behind him on the same tire strats, because anybody that tries to get around them, even if they're on fresh tires, if they don't just go high and let them by, they're going to battle. And that's what he wants to see right now. He wants to see people battling as they go green.
Yep, A.J. Rogers, another fantastic restart to keep that lead. And now we're going to see Timothy Trowbridge on the outside of Thomas Flanagan. And he's going to try to look to pass both of them in a lap or two, but he's going to be stuck behind one and stuck on the outside of one, so nowhere to go for that car.
I figured this was going to happen. I figured they'd go 50 laps, and now they're getting a little racy. You got people shuffled back on different pit strategies and whatnot. So you got everybody just trying to make stuff happen now. Curious to see what happened here.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Donald Clark is showing a lap down. I'm not sure if that wreck had to do with him.
Race control is actually having trouble finding the accident as well.
I thought Clark was on the lead lap. I could be wrong.
I thought he was as well, Zach.
Oh, I found it. I think, and it could be up here. Let me check this out. Oh, there it is. Ooh, Dalton Williamson.
Yeah.
All right, we'll come back live to you guys, and we'll head over to Dalton Williamson, as he is unfortunately a part of this wreck, and let's see what happened. Go contact with the 2, and a little bit of contact with another driver, but not too much. So Dalton Williamson and I saw the 2, but the 0-2 of Daniel Hutchison probably, yeah. Because I was like, Scotty Stevens is showing as the 2, but the 0-2 of Daniel Hutchins.
That's why, being a league admin, we stress that everybody has their numbers correct. But as you see, stuff falls through the cracks. Just hearing through race control right here that the 0-2 car just received an EOL, so he'll be going to the back. Yeah,
that just looked like short track racing. One driver kind of took it easy into the turn, and then you saw Hutchins in the back kind of dive into the turn a little bit, and neither driver was expecting the other driver to do what they did, and unfortunately a caution came out because of it.
I think we are going. Nope, they elected to go back to double file. They have at first race control switches to single file. I think to calm these boys down, but they changed it back to double file.
Yeah, it just looks like the intensity has changed. You saw a lot of give and go, or a lot of give in that first 50 laps, and you know these guys know that the second half of this race is a lot more important to get in position to try to get the best finish for your car, and that can just cause a little bit of over-aggression and the cautions that you're seeing. So we'll see on lap 73 when we go back to green flag racing if these guys are able to go back to that green flag racing that we had in the first half.
I know AJ Rogers, he's second in the points right now. I don't remember the point situation right off the top of my head. He's about 20 points behind Dalton Williamson, so this could be a good points night for AJ right here as we start to wind down the season.
Yeah, I can find that for you in a second.
As AJ Rogers gets another great restart. He has Mr. Restarts tonight. Oh, and Flanagan, I don't know if there was contact between him and Pittman or not. It looks as if somebody had to have some contact with Flanagan right then. I don't know which Flanagan it was either. Oh yeah, just got him in the quarter panel and sent him all around. Just a product of hard racing on a short track. Christian Pittman went for real estate that wasn't there. Slight contact to the quarter panel and just upset the car so much, just turned him all around. I just feel bad for the guys that's behind that. Being on a short track, you have nowhere to go. It's just like dominoes at that point. As you see him electing to go in and pit now, I wonder if that's to get damage fixed or to take the set of tires. I'm curious right here. So being the leader of Five Kings Motorsports, I'm a little biased here, but even that, if I was race control solo by myself tonight, I would have to give Christian Pittman an EOL for that one. He probably didn't intend for that to happen, but at the end of the day, it did happen, you know. So I'm really curious to see what happens here. I think race control is discussing it right now as we speak.
Yeah, we'll see what happens to him. And if he does get an EOL, that's going to move Trevor well, actually, no, Trevor would be on the inside unless we'll see what it does. Because on the grid, obviously, it moves one guy up. But we'll see if Trevor Edwards moves up from the 5th to the 4th spot if he gets an EOL. And that would get Trevor Edwards is already in the top 5 for the first time tonight after starting in the 17th position. And you know, EOL or not, he's in the top 5, and we're going to see what he can do with it with 20 laps to go or so. And it looks like we're going to go single file restart, which means Christian Pittman not going to get an EOL.
They are discussing it right now over race control to the drivers. So I think if they was going to do the EOL, they would have already did it. They said it was pretty tough to call. Looked like both drivers kind of met in the middle. Christian Pittman going down low. He is fighting for everything now. He's hungry for that lead spot back after being there for the first 50 laps. It's more contact.
And he's got to be careful here because He was let off with a brake. Oh, and I thought he was going to get a little bit of a.
I thought he was getting sent right there.
Yeah, that looked like it. It looked like a classic bumper situation, tossing him around for making contact, but Tommy Flanagan thought otherwise. And
I think he is still trying to get there to him, though, Zach. I don't think these boys are done playing nice.
Caution is out. Shows Daniel Hutchins in pits, so we'll see if maybe something happened to the 0-2. Tough night for that driver after the initial wreck he was a part of. Just gets loose out of 4, and wrecking in front of him too.
Yes, I wonder
Looked
if
like Thomas Flanagan.
Hutchinson. I wonder if he wrecked getting on the brakes or something right here. I don't know. That was a weird situation.
Oh, someone got loose in front of Thomas here. Let's actually look and see if Hutchins was wrecking before or after. Looks like he just got loose, but unfortunate for Thomas as the 14 of Brian Bianchi spins in front of him and just nowhere to go for that car. We'll actually go back again and see what happened to the 14. Looks like maybe he just got loose as well out of the turn. Ooh, actually wall contact. Sends that car around. So two different wrecks bringing out a caution here.
And for clarity, for the last caution between Pittman and Flanagan, or Pittman and I think it was one of the Flanagan, race control ended up saying that Pittman was showing the run the whole way down the front stretch and just kind of got his nose chopped off.
Yeah, and I mean that started a chain of unfortunate events for Thomas Flanagan. He was up there in the top 5, and then contact with Christian Pittman sends him to the back, and being in the back puts him in that situation to be a part of that single car wreck with the 14 of Brian Bianchi hitting the wall. So one thing leading to another is going to hurt Thomas Flanagan tonight as he's on track 16th, currently 2 laps down. 16th, I think.
And race control just came over and said they are putting these boys in a single file, and that's how it will remain, just to calm them down. We had a great start of the race, but it's been a little messy. But coming into this race, I thought it would be pretty intense just because it's a single groove track with a pretty loose setup, but the drivers did really good at the start of the race. I think everybody's just getting antsy now, especially you got ones like Christian Pittman. Like I said, he led this whole race, and he can see the lead. He just can't get to the lead.
Yeah, and Timothy, who had his own taste of the lead, now stuck in that second position, and with the looks like Timothy wants to get on that outside for a double file restart, but I'm not sure. I think he's just getting the notice that it's single file, or I'm not sure what's going on here. Looks like it's double file. Looks like they changed
doubled it up. Okay.
The drivers didn't even know there for a second.
Nope. That's not a good look as AJ Rogers pulls off again.
Yeah, and that restart kind of surprised Christian Pittman, and that's going to allow Timothy Trowbridge in the second position to not get stuck on that outside. He's going to be able to get that second position, and here comes Trevor Edwards on the inside of Tommy Flanagan. He is in that 4th spot.
I mean, Trevor Edwards is here to play ball now. He started 17th, I think it was, and worked his way up to 4th, I believe. So he's going to be a player as these laps start to wind down. Yeah,
not a lot of time left for these drivers to race for the lead. 12 laps to go. Timothy Trowbridge in the best spot right now to battle for the lead, as he is right on the back bumper of AJ Rogers. Rogers making that pit call, still working out for him, and gets a little loosey-goosey out of turn 4. But he's able to maintain that position, but not without contest. It's Timothy Trowbridge right behind him. And as these two race, Christian Pittman and really a train of 3 or 4 cars starting to get close to this battle. As there goes the 74, Timothy Trowbridge to the inside. And that is unfortunate for AJ because there are a train of cars waiting for him to move up to that outside and take that spot away. as now Christian Pittman looking to battle for the lead.
AJ's fighting hard up there, but I think being in the old tires and being on the high lane, it's just not a whole lot he can do. He's just at damage control now, trying to find a spot to get down. As you see, Trowbridge leading a long line of cars right now with the eager Christian Pittman and Trevor Edwards being this close to the lead. It's just, his eyes are big right now, just trying to get there.
AJ Rogers got a little impatient, I think, and tried to move down, and there was not a space there for him to move down to.
Oh no, I didn't even know that happened until looking at your stream. Yes, that shows how quick your fortunes can change really fast. Go from the lead to now you got a wrecked race car.
Him in the 76. 76 of Brad Ringer make contact, and a lot of contact there. I couldn't tell the other driver. I think it was Donald Clark, yeah. And we're seeing, and the smoke stops, which means that motor is done. Maybe? Usually when the smoke stops, that motor is done, but he still sounds like he has power. Maybe not.
No, he is straight on the clutch right now. I don't think he has any power.
That car looks like it has
yeah,
power
he's
behind
speeding
it.
up.
Kind of surprised. Usually when you see that smoke roll and then stop, that means that motor's done going, but he was able to get back to his pit stall. And that is going to leave us with not so many laps to go when we get under green flag. So Timothy Trowbridge just going to try to get the best jump he can just to not give Christian or Trevor any chance to battle for the lead.
As I just heard from Race Control, they actually gave AJ Rogers the EOL for trying to come down right then. And I'm not a liar this time. It says Joshua Sexton, Race Control, has changed restarts to single file. So that's gonna be huge for Trowbridge as he looks to capture another win in the SK Modified Series presented by MF Racing Designs.
Yeah, and see if the lights go off. The lights are not off, so real quick, I forgot to do it earlier, but we'll look at the schedule real quick while we're under caution. As we head from Five Flags to Thompson Speedway next week for another 100-lap event, and then to end the season on February 9th, Stafford Motor Speedway. So only 2 weeks left after tonight, and a couple of interesting tracks for these SK Modifieds to run at.
Yes, sir. And for those that don't know, SK Modifieds, they were actually invented at the Stafford Motor Speedway. That's where the whole division started. And so we decided to end our season at Stafford. It's a 200-lap race. It's going to be a little bit different, and it's also going to be for double points. So it's going to shake things up, we feel like, for the points championship battle.
Well, Tanner, the lights are off on the pace car. We're going to have a green-white checkered here, as there's going to be 2 laps to go, and it's a regular green-white checkered. It's not an overtime type of thing, so you don't see that a lot.
I'm going to put my money on Christian Pittman right here. I don't know, though, after Trowbridge gets a great restart. He just needs to hold it for 2 laps.
Yeah, I don't think, I don't know if we have green-white checkers for overtime kind of deal, but if caution does not come out, which he's about to get the white flag, and if he doesn't wreck himself, looks like he can just cruise the win right here.
Yep.
Ooh, and there's wrecks behind him.
At this point.
I saw about 2 or 3 cars wrecking on the standings as they were falling down the standings, so nothing to come out with the white flag, and coming around and can get the checkered is Timothy Trowbridge winning at Five Flags Speedway. Christian Pittman second, Trevor Edwards third, Tommy Flanagan fourth, and Jason Day finishing 5th. That's your top 5.
Got to send a huge congratulations to Timothy Trowbridge for capturing the win here at Five Flags, and Christian Pittman coming in second. And you just got to give a huge shout out to Trevor Edwards for wheeling that machine up to 3rd as Trowbridge is trying to do burnouts and almost kisses Flanagan with his front bumper.
It's a tough place. It's not a lot of room to do burnouts here. It's almost better to do wall burnouts where you put that thing up against the wall and burn the rear tires out.
Yes, sir, Zach. I'm going to pull the drivers over here and let you conduct the end of the race top 3 interviews, and Well, I'm curious to see what Trowbridge and all the guys have to say.
I'm not sure if I've ever seen a backwards wall burnout, but Trowbridge gave that to us there. No smoke, but you heard those rear tires spinning.
As we let him do his, I think they call this a Polish victory lap.
Polish
I know,
victory lap.
made famous by a quickie. I may have just made myself sound like an idiot, but I'm almost positive it's called a Polish victory lap.
Yeah, it is. You do not sound stupid. That is
Good
what
deal.
it's called.
Good deal.
All right, so he stopped and I see him here. So, Timothy, Zach, and Tanner in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, an interesting race tonight. The first half, green flag all the way, and then the second half kind of riddled with cautions. Take us through it.
That was really fun. It definitely track position mattered a lot, but if you knew what line to take and which chances to take, you could make a lot of really really good passes, and that's what we did. We started about P5 on the or P4 after Edwards got his EOL for last week's win, and just moved just nothing but forward, hopefully, and just raced really well there with Christian and AJ and all those fast guys up front. Just tried to keep our nose clean, and that was really really cool to have the whole green flag first stint. Unfortunately, quite a few yellows, but then again, right there at the end, the yellows helped us a little bit.
Yeah, so you mentioned Christian. We saw you racing him early on. We were talking about in the booth the best way to kind of make a pass is let people in front of you battle and then take advantage of it. But when you're in second, you don't have people in front of you battling. So you and Christian were able to swap positions a couple of times. Take us through how you're able to make a pass when you only solely have one person in front of you.
It's just watching and trying to figure out where or when they might make a mistake. I definitely saw Christian was really, really strong up front, but there was a few times that he left just about a half a lane on the bottom. So all it took was getting my nose in there about, I think it was turn one, just showing a nose. And it's so early on, people aren't going to take too many risks holding you up or closing the door too late, as opposed to right there towards the end. It was, you really had to worry about somebody closing the door pretty late. So really just trying to learn as much as you can in the first opening stint, and hopefully you can either A, be out front right towards the end, or B, learn enough that you know how to make the pass right there at the end.
All right, so you got any shout out sponsors you want to throw out there?
As always, got to give a shout to the Crooked Line crew. Awesome, amazing league that they put on. I'm in every single race that they put on, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. Anytime I get a chance to run with these guys, it's well worth it. So if you're looking for some really fun action, check them out on Facebook. Give a shout to my team, Imperial Motorsports, make us faster every single week. And then an affiliate sponsor here.
It was a little bit different because some people were driving the entries to the corners a little bit different. By about 10 laps on these tires, you were almost flat footing it around the track. So I was having to redo my entry every time because the guys up front weren't running it as hard as I was, especially the two Flanagans. They were fast, but they just had a different line to go fast than what I did. So I had to adjust all the last 50 lap stint to try to get to where I needed to be. And once I got to where I needed to be, I was catching Timmy for the win, and then the caution came out. But second place, it's very good, and it was a good race.
Yeah, definitely a great race. You got sponsors you want to shout out?
Well, I got to shout out my grandparents, my girlfriend, and my dad, and then Five King Motorsports. I joined them a couple weeks back, and it's been nothing but a pleasure, especially having teammates on the short track.
All right, man. Well, congratulations on the second place finish tonight. Looking forward to seeing you next week.
Yes, sir. Thanks for broadcasting tonight.
All right, and then finally, third place finisher Trevor Edwards. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, buddy.
Hey, man. Well, I said tough fought finish for him, but I mean a tough fought complete race for you, having to start from the back. Just take us through how tough that was to start. I think 17th.
A lot harder to pass than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be all about being able to set somebody up through three and getting a good run off the corner. But I mean, you're throttle on most of the racetrack, so it's really hard to pass here. So it just kind of made it tough. You had to somebody had to make a mistake in front of you, or they had to try to pass and not work. So just being patient, really.
Yeah, we were talking about in the booth before the start of the race about how you had to be patient. Were you looking a lot for people to battle it out and then kind of take that inside line away from the guy who was stuck on the outside?
Yeah, it's kind of what you had to do, or you had to get a really good run off of 4. If you could run a little bit lower than off of 4 than the person in front of you, you got a little bit of a run. But then you had to trust them that if you were underneath them into 1, they weren't going to chop your nose. So it was kind of just being patient and kind of pick your poison whenever you had a chance.
All right, you got any shout out sponsors?
McConey Setup Shop and TireSuck.com, and Youth Podcast and Old Tanner.
All right, man, I appreciate it. Nice 3rd place finish, and hey, you don't have to start in the back next week, so that's a positive.
Thompson.
All right, man. Well, congratulations. Have a nice night.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, that was your top 3 tonight, and while I go ahead and pull up your results for tonight's race, Tanner, last thoughts on the race tonight?
You know, the first part of the race, it was like a tale of 2 different races almost. The first part of the race was really clean, but then we threw that competition caution at lap 50, the halfway point, and you could tell the intensity definitely ramped up pretty quick. And although we had some cautions at the end, some overzealous drivers maybe, I think it was still overall a good race. I know I messed up earlier and didn't thank the sponsors. I don't think I did. So I wanted to send a huge shout out to MF Racing Designs for being the premier sponsor of this series. It's Michael Falk, really. I mean, that's my right hand man down here, and he came on to sponsor the entire series. You can look him up on Facebook. He does iRacing paint schemes. He can do a business logo. He can do basically anything you want. And just I mean, he's just a good all around guy. He's affordable, and then also got to think, like Trevor said, McConey Setup Shop. Yes, Trevor Edwards, he is a driver for them, but he also supplies the fixed setups for here. So without them two, this league wouldn't be possible. Got to thank you, Zach, for allowing me to not only come up in the booth with you, but to also broadcast these races with you. And it's been a pleasure, man. I really enjoy it, and we hope to bring you back next season.
Yeah, man. Shout out to those sponsors that you talked about, and shout out to you. I mean, before you said that you wanted to come into the booth, I was just planning on doing it by myself because I didn't really have anybody to hop up in the booth, and you offered, and I was like, heck yeah, because two-person booths always work out a lot better than one person alone. You can just bounce off of each other. So appreciate you hopping in the booth with me, and we'll go through the results, and then we'll take one last look at the schedule, and we'll hop out of here. So Timothy Trowbridge, your winner tonight. Christian Pittman, 2nd. Trevor Edwards, 3rd. Tommy Flanagan, able to hold out that top 5 with that pit strategy. Jason A. Day, 5th. Dalton Williamson, 6th. Brandon Mettler, 7th. Donald Clark, 8th. Frank Barbary, 9th. And rounding out your top 10, Rex Hoyle. Sean Woodside, 11th. A.J. Rogers, 12th. Brad Ringer, 13th. Brian Bianchi, 14th. Thomas Flanagan, 15th. Daniel Hutchins, 16th. And Steve Sexton, 17th. That is your results for tonight's race. Everybody else on there is race control tonight or /broadcaster. So, yeah, we'll go ahead and take a look at the remaining schedule, and we'll hop out of here. As you see, Thompson Speedway, 100 laps there, and then ending the season, like you said, at Stafford Motor Speedway, where the SK Modifieds originated. So, going to be an interesting couple of weeks to end the race or in the season, and I'm definitely looking forward to hopefully rejoining you guys for season 2 of the Modified series. So, thank you guys for tuning in tonight from Five Flag Speedway. Zach Wetstein and Tanner Marr in the booth. Have a good night.